Students, good evening. Can you hear me? Students, good evening. Can you hear me? Okay, Puta. Thank
Yes,
you.
sir, can.
Thank you, Puta. Thank you. Okay, today we have a special session because today I think you did not have other lectures. So we are going to have this session also online. And because other two sessions had a small, the lecturers had, it seems, some issues. So therefore, uh, uh, I was asked whether I could do online. I told by all means. Why? By all means. Because after all, the subject is what? What is subject I'm teaching you? If you are not sure, you can check the. Yes, yes, Uta, yes.
Digital business strategies.
Digital business strategy, indeed. So while teaching digital business strategy, if I'm asked, whether to do the lecture physical or online, in a virtual mode, I would say I prefer online. But again, I do understand the necessity to have physical lectures. That's correct. Because sometimes what happens is that people don't, take the maximum out of the virtual sessions, right? That's, I think, an attitude issue. So it's not anything to do with technology. Technology is perfect, right? We do have the technology now. You can see me as well, and even I could have asked you to on the video, but I'm not going to do that. Don't worry, right? Unless it's a presentation, I'm not going to ask you to on the videos. But however, the thing is that some students, some participants, they don't take it in the spirit of, an online lecture. They don't understand it. So they do all other things. They might travel, so they are not focused physically. So actually, when we have it, then you have to be there and you have to focus. So I think that's the advantage. That's the main advantage of a physical lecture because there's no distractions and you are protected from yourself, isn't it? You are protected. Sometimes we have to protect ourselves from ourselves, isn't it? Particularly when we are addicted to certain things. When we are addicted to certain things, we have to protect ourselves from ourselves. And Chinese philosophers, one of the Chinese philosophers told, who is our greatest enemy? Who is our greatest enemy? Who is our greatest enemy? This is one of the Chinese. I'm not telling this. This is one of the Chinese philosophers who told it. Yeah, there were some very great Chinese philosophers like Mao Zedong and likewise several others were there. So who is our greatest enemy? Mahinda Rajapaksa, Rani Krosi, Arun Kumar Disana. Who? Who is our greatest enemy? According to him, our greatest enemy is ourselves. Right? Now, he explains that now who did not study, who did not do their responsibility properly at the correct times. Now we have studies. So who was looking at Facebook and all other entertainment activities but not studying? Who did use ChatGPT and copy it from others? Who did that? Isn't it? So that's why it said that our greatest enemy is ourselves. So we have to sometimes protect ourselves from ourselves. So just how can you do that? How can you protect ourselves from ourselves? You have to create systems. You have to create simple systems. So, you can protect yourself from yourself. Now, one system is that when physical lectures are there, you attend physical lectures. Then you can protect yourself from yourself. And on the other hand, if you feel sleepy and always on the bed, then when you study, go to a coffee shop or go to a library or go to at least to a friend's place and study together. So likewise, there are now if your phone is your main distracting device, indeed for many of us it might be the case. So what can you do to your phone? So you can you can switch it off and keep it in another room, physical, or at least turn it on other side. Put the silent mode and turn it in other side and keep it away. So likewise, there are certain methods that you can follow, certain systems you can follow to protect yourself from yourself. Remember, unfortunately, our greatest enemy is ourselves. Right? There's a mechanism in ourselves that prevents us to become successful. We all have the capacity, but there's a mechanism that's something inside us, right, that prevents us from prospering, progressing. Because psychologists say that our brain is wired for survival only. So it wants you just to survive, that's all, not to prosper. So therefore, you have to understand we have to have some mechanisms there to challenge ourselves and go beyond survival. Go beyond survival. If not, just to eat something, drink something, and that's enough, and we enjoy the rest of the life. But that's also a good model. But if you are going to get into a family and also if you are thinking about the future, then I don't think the survival mode will work. Okay. Right, some advice to all of you. Now we have 19 students. Okay, welcome back to digital business study subject. How are you doing today? Doing fine? I think you are well relaxed, isn't it? So in the evening, having lectures is kind of a relaxing experience sometimes. But you have to have a nap, a power nap in the evening, then that will create more impact, right? So that's another secret of productivity that Chinese follow. Even in Chinese schools, the students sleep on the desks for about 20 minutes or 30 minutes, or maybe, I don't know, 1 hour, right, on the desks in the evening. And they have their classes till 6, 7, likewise, that's how they work, PM. So that's called power naps. We don't need to sleep for 1 hour, but at least for 30 minutes, if you can sleep, have a power nap, that will increase your productivity tremendously, right? Tremendously. Significant. A huge increase in your productivity can be achieved by power naps. So if you want to get more details, please go to YouTube and type power naps. And you can put your headphones and it will put you into sleep for 30 minutes and it will wake up after 30 minutes. So those are called power naps. So likewise, there are different strategies that you can use to increase your productivity because remember, if you are by default, if you are trying to follow your defaults without a system, without a strategy, as we call digital business strategy, if you are just trying to follow your instincts, and if you are just trying to follow whatever the parents or whatever you have been following so far, right, it might not be the best course of action. If you are very successful, then of course there's no problem, right? If you're like Richard Branson already, then there's no problem, right? But I did not see, maybe including myself, that I have achieved that amount of success, at least material success. Maybe spiritually you might have been well advanced than Richard Branson. But as the balance scorecard says, that you have to balance your life. Not only material wealth, not only spiritual wealth. Spiritual wealth or spiritual, well-being is also important. success also important, but again, that itself is not enough, isn't it? With spirituality, can you eat, drink in an economy like Sri Lanka? So unless you get donations, so therefore we have to maintain, we have to have a well-balanced life. So when it comes to balancing, you have to balance your health, balance your job, balance your studies, and balance your spiritual aspect. So likewise, then your obligations, your family life, likewise, you have to balance these things. Okay, so these are some thoughts that will help you to progress in your life, because I'm speaking this subject about digital business strategy. So always think in a strategic way. That doesn't mean that always you are trying to gain money or gain, extract rent. That means additional profits. No, that's not what I mean. Here, strategy means to have a balanced life and have a nice life, which we all target, isn't it? Okay. So with that, I think we have now about 23 students. That's good. So at least for the students who come at the beginning to give you some advice, that's going to be helpful, isn't it? Okay, students. Now let me ask you, can you see my screen?
Yes, sir, we can
Yes,
see.
sir.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, so now I think high time to discuss about deadlines, isn't it? Deadlines for your individual assignment as well as group assignment. So I will give you again some details, because now today's lecture will be in a direct recording. Of course, all lectures are in recording, right? You can see. So the SAB is giving the lecture recordings. That's really commendable. And yes, so I got hold of your lecture schedule, academic calendar. So according to this academic calendar, your lecture series you started around 23rd December, just 2 days before Christmas, right? And things started rolling. And yes, your semester, as you very correctly told, I think your batch leader told it very correctly, right? So, but leaders told it. So 18th, right, you have business study, and from 23rd, your digital business strategy subject is supposed to be over. Am I correct? So 23rd March. That's then on 25th March, you are going to go to your study leave. Then you'll have your end semester examinations after the new year. So you are going to have the single time in the new year from, of course, 12th, 13th, and 14th. So then we'll be meeting again on 20th. So actually on 20th to 28th, in a short window, you'll have your subjects. And then you will have your commencement of your next level, semester 2. So that's the plan for you. Right, there's a plan for you. So therefore, now we'll set our deadlines for digital business strategy. Okay. So, right, usually what we do is, as I told you on the first day itself, we'll first have the group assignment week before the last. Right, week before the last, we'll have a group assignment. On that day, right, in whichever country you are, you have to be there, and you have to do the presentation. Only at least for that, right? Other days, I'm not that concerned whether you are there or not, or lively, right? But again, on the other hand, for the group presentation, you have to be there. So then what are the groups? But before that, we'll then set the deadlines. So I'm going to go to the LMS and set now itself. So now your last day is 23rd. That seems a nice bright Saturday, right? A nice bright Saturday, right? Birds chirping and brightness is there. So we'll have our presentations on that day. We have 4 hours for that, right? Actually, presentations we'll be having on, remember, on 16th. 16th is also a nice bright, a much more brighter Saturday. I'm told the predictions indicate birds chirping, children singing, and people are happy. The economy is good, right? So 16th March 2024, we will have our group presentations, right? You have to submit your group report and you can present it. You don't need to have a separate presentation for that. You can present the report, right? That's adequate. I don't need a separate presentation. You present your report. But if you want to have a presentation, that's also fine, right? Or you can present your report. There's no problem. Oh, what shall we do? Shall we be consistent? Some students using presentations. So we'll ask you to prepare a presentation, right? That's much better. If not, there will be inconsistencies. Some students doing PowerPoint and some people are just showing the report. I think since it's a presentation, better to have the presentation because it says report and presentation. So indeed, in that case, there's no option. We have to go for a presentation, right? So let me set the deadline for that for the group assignment. Okay, group assignment. So you can see I have already said that, but now I'm going to set it properly. So the group assignment comes first, therefore. Okay, and I'm going to set the deadline properly. It's not 3rd March, right? No, it's not 28th March. So I'm going to set it properly. So the day before, we have to submit the information. So on, let's say, 15th March 2024, we'll set the deadline. And on 16th March, please do the presentation. And that day, the people who are online notes will have to take part in foreign countries or wherever you are, right? Okay, so let's set the deadline. So here, what you have to do is you have to prepare a digital business strategy for a selected entity out of whatever is in your group. So the report should be uploaded on 15th March 2024, right? Group presentations in the class on the week before the last. No other time and date will be allocated. So other than this, no time. So if you are not well, then give medicals and do whatever the procedure. I cannot help that. So each person will be given 15 minutes, right? And here this is not applicable because the groups are already set, right? I was given the group list by your group leader. Thank you very much. So this is the group list. I'll come to that a little bit later, right? Then, okay, the deadline is on 15th March 2024, midnight. And then you will be asked to do the presentation. Is on 16th March 2024. And all members should present. So you decide what's the content. I'm not going to ask to randomly ask you to present. You decide who is going to present, right? But make sure that all the members in the group present, right? Right. So then the cutoff date will be again. I'm not going to put the cutoff date. So some 15 March will be the deadline, right, to submit the PowerPoint as well as the report. Delivers a report via 15 March, a group presentation in the class. No other date will be given. A report plus PowerPoint. So please do submit it by 15th March. So you have enough time for that. You have, of course, about 1 month to do that now. So get together and do it. So that will be your group, the group presentation. Okay, maximum number of uploaded files. So it will be 2. Because it's a report, and or if you have any other things, let's put 3. Okay. Right. I think now we have set the deadline for the group presentation. Any questions? Group assignment. And now let me come to your other things a bit later. Then let me set the individual assignment. And again, tell you about the individual assignment. Last time some students asked me, it's not 5th of April. It's going to be now. This is the date of your group presentation. The group presentation is, it's the individual assignment is on 23rd. So 23rd, I'm going to give you till midnight because you don't need to present that. So 23rd midnight, I'll be giving your individual report submission. You don't need to present that. It's only a report that you have to submit. I'll tell what's required under these. In fact, I told that at the beginning, but again, let me again remind you. So this I'm going to give you 23rd midnight itself. So you have adequate time. 23rd. Not April, it's March. Right, midnight. Okay, you can submit that anytime from February. Again, not 25. You need to submit 1 file, but again, I'll set it as 2. Right, now that's the individual assignment, and then I'll tell what you need to do under this. Right, is this clear? Are the deadlines clear? The group assignment, submission on 15th, and you have to do the presentation on 16th. Right, so that's group part. And then the individual one will be on 23rd. At midnight, you have to upload the thing to the LMS. Now, let me give a brief introduction into these 2 assignments again, which I did. Right? We discussed this sometimes back. So what are the companies allocated to you? So please go to the LMS, and in the LMS, you can see here. There's a file called Assignment Allocation Group Segregation, 16D exemption. So this is the allocated company for you, right? So if you download that, I have already downloaded that to you. So here, these are the companies allocated to you. Right? These are the companies allocated to you. Understood? So what you need to do, right? For these companies, what you need to do is under the individual assignment, right? Under the individual assignment, you have to perform these analysis. You have to perform SWOT analysis for the company that has been allocated to you, which is in that Excel file. Then TAUS analysis, pest analysis, FIFOSS analysis, and any relevant analysis, right? Higher the better. Use these analyses and try to do a market situation analysis. We call that a market situation analysis. So what's required? a report via the LMS. Just upload it to this. And the report should consist of one introduction, the analysis of all those models, then the interpretations, then conclusion and recommendations. Conclusion and recommendations. So this is what is required under the assignment number 1. Individual assignment. Right? Is that clear?
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, indeed. Ask me questions. That's what I was waiting for. Yes, Putha, tell.
Yes. Yeah, under interpretations, sir, what do we need to include, sir, in the report? Interpretations?
Interpretation, Putha, now once you do the analysis, you will get findings, no? Isn't it? Analysis
Yes.
Putha, findings in on. Once you do the analysis, you will get the findings. You have to interpret those findings. Discuss that.
Okay.
Explain, discuss. That's what means interpretation.
Okay, sir. Okay, got it, sir. Thank you.
Analysis means you analyze. That's all. Analysis can just you do the analysis, and then you have to take that findings out of the analysis, and you have to present it and interpret it. Right? And then finally, based on all, you will be coming up with your conclusions and recommendations. Yeah, good question, Putha. Excellent.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Got it, sir.
No problem. Any other questions related to the individual assignment? A student might ask, sir, my file like what theme? What is my file like theme? Sapita dunne. Dunna. On LMS එකේ. So please download that, right? Methi. So please use this file. You already did an assignment using this, right? Sometimes back, where you prepared a business model, right? A business model for this company, a BMC, a business model canvas, right? So that's the individual assignment. Now let me come to the group assignment, right? Now here for the group assignment, you need to develop a digital business strategy for a selected business. How to select that business? Now in your groups, you have several companies, isn't it? Several members, you have 5 members, about 5 members, and you have several companies. So my recommendation is take one company out of these. Now this is a group assignment. No? You don't need to prepare digital business strategies for each company. In the group, select one company. Now say for an example, Pushpika's group. Pushpika, maybe the group decided to select Panasian Power PLC, or maybe whatever plantation. I don't know anything yet. Or maybe SME, SMB finance, whatever thing, let's say, you decided to select. Maybe whatever plantation. So they decided to select whatever plantation. And then what you have to do is, Putha, you have to now prepare a digital business strategy for that particular organization. Right? So per group, you select one company allocated. That's your preference. I'm not going to tell what's that. You can select whatever the company that you like, right, within your group. Okay. So that's what you have to do under the group assignment. First of all, you have to select a company, as I told you, right? Then after that, what you need to do is you have to prepare the report, right? The deliverable is the digital business strategy. So in the digital business strategy, of course, part is done already under the individual assignment. The strategy cannot be made through without looking an environmental scan, right? So that's already done under your assignment. So the structure you can decide, right? The structure you can decide. But remember, there are certain important things when it comes to a digital business strategy. First comes the market situation analysis, which you did under the individual assignment, right? Under the individual assignment, you should have done that. And then based on that, you are now trying to pitch the digital business strategy. So there you can use the BMC and of course, several models I taught you. then SOSTEC framework, which I'll be teaching you as well. So you can apply. Then of course, why not the framework which I taught you last time? What's the framework that I taught you last time? To pitch the digital business strategy for any business. What was the framework I taught you?
ESP framework.
Very good. ESP framework. Environment, strategy, and performance framework. So environment is the environmental analysis that you did under your individual assignment. Then S is the strategy. Tell what should be the strategy and what are the digital business strategies they can apply, actions that you could apply. In Sandwich Steel, right, today we are supposed to discuss an assignment, right? We'll be discussing if time permits. And of course, I ask you to come up with that assignment, maybe printed or maybe the virtual one, right? The e-copy, whatever. So today we'll discuss that as well after this, right? And so come up with the digital business strategies, the overall strategy, whether it's a focus strategy or it's a market leader strategy. So likewise, you have to look at that. And then with that, you can come up with the different strategies, then different actions, right? Digital business strategies, actions you can take to improve this business, right? Then performance measurement. So I told you last time, right? When it comes to the right performance measurement, there's a nice framework for that as well. What's that? A comprehensive framework that captures several aspects of a business. What's this framework?
Balance scorecard.
Very good. The balance scorecard approach. So apply that. And in fact, I told you for a digital business, what kind of key matrices you could use. Key matrices you could use to do what? To measure the progress. So you can apply for this assignment, the ESP framework. Then you can even draw a business model for this. So likewise, right, try to give a comprehensive analysis under this report, right? But don't exceed 15 minutes when you present. But for my reports, I don't have a word limit, but don't have 2 pages, right? 3 pages. At least if you have 10, 15 pages, right? Even if you want more, there's no problem, right? Okay. So that's about the individual assignment as well as the group assignment, right? For your group assignment, you have now 16th of March, 15th of March, you have to submit, and 16th of March, you have to present. Then 23rd of March is where you have to do what? Your individual assignment. You have to do your individual assignment. Okay, Bata? Is that very clear? Because as a lecturer, I don't want to have any vagueness. Clear communication will remove all misunderstandings, isn't it? Always, I would like to have clear communication so we all are in the same book, same chapter, same page, and same paragraph, isn't it? Not if you are in different places, you will be disadvantaged. Any questions related to the individual assignment and the group assignment? Is it clear? So I think today we set the entire stage, right? What you need to do, what are the deadlines? Now please work on this, right? Now these are huge tasks. Remember, these are huge tasks. It's not easy. And if only the group leader is going to do things, it will be reflected. And yes, you can decide who is going to present, but I'm going to ask questions from different people. On different areas, you should be able to tell that, not only on your area. So that's why you call it group assignment, isn't it? So you should have an overall idea about the presentation, right? Is that clear? Any questions? Earlier, one student asked a very important question. Any questions that you want to clarify? Clear? Crystal clear. So clear as crystal, isn't it? Okay, right. So if you do have any questions, please ask me anytime. Right, we have several sessions from till we have this deadline achieved. Right. So let's come to what we discussed last time. Okay, we discussed about different kind now. Even in the assignment, I told yes, we came to this slideshow. You can download chapter 5 strategy, and we just started that. And I told that many of the things in this chapter we discussed on the additional chapter 5 additional. And here we even discussed what Porter had told about the internet. Right. Let's see what Michael Porter, the great organizational guru who came up with several models. So Porter, the internet, what did he tell in the internet in 2001, right? So almost 23 years ago, 22 or 23 years ago, he was telling what? The key question is not whether to deploy internet technology. Companies have no choice if they want to stay competitive, but how to deploy that? How to use it is the main question. We even have artificial intelligence on our hands. Earlier it was there, for a long period it was there, but the end users like you and I could not use that. But now that's also there. So you can see there's a massive transformation that's taking place, right? And we have to understand this. So digital businesses will have to leverage on this. Last week I taught you almost eight business models that any person could use, like drop shipping, right? Using your own. So we also understood using your own website and your own brand to sell will give you the greatest profits, right? So if you are feeling now, if your salary is not enough or whatever, right? Or if you know that there's an unemployed person, or maybe one of your brothers or sisters are just wasting their time, then why not you start a small digital business, right? First study it very well, and then why not launch it? And Sri Lanka has some great products, right? Agri as well as some other products, and you could market that, right, through your own website or in Amazon or in eBay, right? And you could make some money, some additional extra money, right? So that's why Michael Porter told this in 2001. So what's a strategy? We already discussed this. I'm just repeating. Strategies means that you are trying to get somewhere. How you are going to get things, right? I asked you when I taught you about strategy, right? What's your ambition? What's your objective? What's your dream in your life? Some people told different answers, right? I told to make your objective smart. So to achieve those smart objectives, you need strategies. Strategies, right, are to achieve your targets. So have well-crafted strategies, short-term, medium-term, and long-term. At least if you don't want to talk about your businesses, you are not interested in business strategies, have strategies for yourself. Have daily strategies, weekly strategies, monthly, biannual, then annual strategies, then 2 year strategy, 5 year strategy, then 15 year strategies. Like if you don't have a strategy, that means you are like a ship in the sea that doesn't have a direction, right? You don't know where to go. So if you really don't know in your life where to go, can you reach your destination? A ship doesn't know where to go. So can it reach the desired port? If there is no desire, how can they reach that? So likewise, first of all, understand what you need in your life. Have a deep exploration, I suggest. A deep exploration in your life and see what you really need, and then see what's the strategy. Short term, long term, medium term, and the long term strategies. So yes, a strategy defines how we will meet our objectives. Sets allocation of resources to meet goals. Of course, once the strategy is there, you can see what resources are required. Then select preferred strategic options to compete within the market. Then you might have several options and you can select what option is best. Are you going to basically compete in terms of cost or differentiation? It's your, yeah. Then you can go for market leadership, or is it niche? So when it comes to strategies, there are three levels of strategies. You can have business unit strategies, regional strategies, and functional strategies. So what are these business unit strategies? We call that the corporate strategy, which is concerned with the overall purpose and scope of the particular organization, right? Corporate strategy. Corporate strategy is that. Then the business unit, now in a large conglomerate, there might be business units. Corporate strategy is the holistic strategy for the entire organization. Now, if you are talking about JKH, for JKH, what's the entire strategy? Then we have in JKH, we have several companies. Those are strategic business units, which defines how to compete successfully in a particular market, particular industry. Now, if you take Sri Lanka, we have a corporate strategy. Then we have for each business unit, strategic business unit, a strategy. Now, for an example, for SAB, right, for Sri Lanka, SAB is a strategic business unit. Then the main CA qualification, that's a separate business unit. Then we have a business school, that's a separate business unit, strategic business unit. So what are the strategies for this? Then operational strategies. Operational strategies are, strategies that relate to operations, functions, like marketing strategy, financing strategy, HR strategy, those kind of things. Right? The holistic level starts being corporate strategy. Then of course you can have a regional strategy if your branches are there in a region. Maybe you have South Asian, right? In other South Asian countries, you might have your branches like Damro, right? And you could have a regional strategy. Right. So we discuss sell side, buy side, all these things we discuss. Right. Let me come to another interesting point. Okay. Here, the SWOT analysis and the TOWS analysis. It's not cows analysis, it's TOWS analysis, which I talked a bit last week. What's a TOWS analysis? And today I'm going to show you a small document I prepared for you, right, to explain what's the TOWS analysis. Now, this is one of the major components that you have to put where? In which change assignment. In both assignments, it's important because without this, you cannot come up with strategies. But particularly in your individual assignment, there was SWOT as well as TOWS. So what's the difference between SWOT and TOWS? SWOT and TOWS, what's the difference? අපිට අහමුනේ ළමයි නැත්තම් ළමයි මින්දත් යයි ඊට පස්සේ මට දොස් කියයි සර් අපිව අවදි කරේ නැහැ. Isn't it? We have 33 people out of 50 odd people, isn't it? එකපාරටම 32 වුණා ප්‍රශ්න අහන්න ගත්තම මිනිස්සු චුත වෙනවා. So what to do, no? Any volunteers? So I won't ask questions. මිනිස්සු චුත වුණොත් ඒක counterproductive. So it's counterproductive. So what's Dow's analysis? Yes.
Sir, in SWOT analysis, we will analyze the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats individually. But
Yeah.
in TAOs, we get a combination in the sense strengths and opportunities and threats. Likewise, we get a combination and then analyze.
Very good. Very good. Excellent. Excellent. Perfect. So you can see, yes, as Pavani very correctly told, you can see in a SWOT analysis, you just list down strengths separately, weakness separately, opportunities separately, and threats separately. But in a TAOS analysis, you are now going to use strengths, right? Strengths to attract more opportunities. That's what you call SO strategy. Now you can see both are now combined. It's called SO strategy, strengths and opportunities. What it means, we call that SO strategies, leveraging strengths to maximize opportunities. You are going to take opportunities by leveraging your strengths, right? Then we'll apply this to CS Sri Lanka. I have brought you a small document for that. Then you have strengths, right? In ST strategies, strengths and threats. You can see leveraging strengths to minimize threats. You are trying to address, right? Defend yourself using your strengths. We'll see in CS Sri Lanka what's the situation. What are the strengths and how we can defend ourselves from the severe market competition. Local and foreign, other universities, other degree programs are coming up. So how can we defend ourselves? Then we have WO strategies. What does it mean? Counter weaknesses through exploiting opportunities, right? There might be weaknesses, but by exploiting opportunities, you can counter them. We'll see in CS Sri Lanka, SAB, right? What could be treated as currently a limitation, a weakness, and so how we can use, right? Because of that, how we can use that to gain opportunities. Yes, sometimes weaknesses could be used, right, to exploit. Now, for an example, an organization might be small. That might be treated as a weakness. But with that, what comes? Agility. You can take decisions very quickly, not like in large organization, bureaucracies. In large organizations, to take decisions, you'll have to wait months to get the board approval and everything. So everything should have happened at that point. But if you are a small organization, you have agility and you can take up opportunities when they are presented, when they come up. So weaknesses, sometimes the weakness could be used to gain opportunities. Then finally, counter weaknesses. The W3 strategy means counter weaknesses and threats. So you are trying to counter your weaknesses and threats together. So build strengths for defensive strategy. So you are going to build strengths, reduce, minimize the weaknesses, and defend yourself. Okay. So now for your selected organization that I have told you, please apply this analysis, TAOS analysis. I prepared a small document, right? Here you can see TAOS analysis and SAB. I prepared a small document. I think you can see that. So what are our main strengths? CS Sri Lanka, SAB. SAB, CS Sri Lanka, what's the main strength? We discussed this to a certain extent, even during the lectures. What's the main strength product? I have listed it. Brand recognition. CS Sri Lanka is, right, the national premier accounting body in Sri Lanka. So we have the greatest brand recognition. Then quality of education and training, industry connections. And the lecture panel, you can see, I'm not going to boast about myself, but you can see what kind of lecture panel that there is. Just see around in other similar places who are the lecturers. What are their qualifications? some very junior people are teaching and addressing. Yeah, I don't say that's wrong, but again, to teach certain subjects, you need to have experts. So professors, industry experts, consultants. Likewise, you have to have people who are of repute. Then only you can get good input for good students, right? Isn't it? So SAB ensures that, and from the beginning itself, right, in 2013 when it was established, right, we were called upon, and so you can see, right, that's a great strength. Okay, so I have just put only 3 strengths. That there are several other strengths as well, right? Even now the location, we have the location advantage. That is strength, isn't it? Location. You can add that if you want. Right now SAB is situated. We have, in fact, the main Manasekara, right, broad our main institute, as well as we have this Gold Road, the place that we are doing our main lectures. So there is a great location advantage compared to some other places where it's very, very far away. So the location advantage is also there. What are the other strengths that you think? What are the other strengths? Strengths නැද්ද? Another strength is the industry partnerships. It can be taken as some kind of, opportunity as well. But again, industry partnerships even can be taken because it's something that you have. MOUs and other things that you have. So what are the weaknesses? Even you should now, being part of SAB, you might have seen some weaknesses. What are the weaknesses? What are the weaknesses? Weakness නැද්ද? අම්මෝ දැන් weaknesses කියන්න කියපුවම අපේ දරුවෝ පොතක් ලියයි. නේද? සාමාන්‍ය එහෙමනේ. We are very much, keen on looking at weaknesses and threats. That's survival mechanism again. But always we have to see, on the other hand, there are strengths that we could use and opportunities we could leverage. So what are our weaknesses? Don't you have any weaknesses? So we do have weaknesses. What are those? Weakness මොනවද? Limited resources. Yes, still we don't have that much of large building facilities, right? We are trying to get a large land, a little bit distant from the main city, but again, it's yet under the process, right? Of course, we were allocated a huge land. Unfortunately, with the change of education minister those days and the secretary, we lost it. If not in Mipe, there was a huge land that we could have got. Then in some other places also we were offered lands, but again later on the government changed their minds. So we need more resources, that's correct. Then adaptability to technology change, yes, that's another aspect that we need to really think about, particularly coming up with what? A good website. Then limited global recognition, yes, we need to get global recognition and accreditation as well, right? So that limitation is with all our degrees, despite whatever the degree. Then what are the opportunities? Of course, growing demand for accountants, not for bookkeepers, but intellectuals like you, right? Opportunities and collaborations. Of course, partnerships and collaborations are there. right? There are opportunities from partnerships with international accounting bodies and other universities, right? Earlier also, we saw that there's partnerships, industry partnerships. That's where particularly I was talking about the internship. Because internship we can easily arrange through, say, the CA network. Here, partnerships and collaboration, these are opportunities with other universities and other accounting bodies, right? Where we'll be able to partner and even offer joint professional degrees. Then we do have digital learning platforms, right? And that's a great opportunity where we can leverage, we can go into other countries. Already we are going to Bangladesh and we can deliver our content. And even at the moment, we are leveraging that to a certain extent. So these are opportunities, and some students in this exemption batch, 16D, are joining from overseas, right? From Canada and Dubai and some other places like that. Great. So what are the threats? Competition from other institutes. Of course, we do have competition enough. That's a normal thing that any organization would have, which offers accounting or and finance degrees. Then, of course, there are regulatory changes that could take place, but now it's not a threat. Fortunately, the governments have recognized the importance of private education, private universities, private degree programs, but again, some resistance is there by some parties, right? Some parties really resisted, and now they have changed. 360-degree change is there, right? The people who told India should be, we should ban India, and now are going to India with ties and coats, coat and tie and then India. No. So you can see, but the problem is we have to be extremely careful of those people who change policies, like changing their governments. So regulatory changes, then economic instability, the financial crisis, those kind of things are there. Not only that, the political instability is also having a big issue in Sri Lanka at the moment, economic instability. So these are threats. Now under Tao's analysis, what we do is we use our strengths to counter, or to not to counter, to take up opportunities. Now what we can do, right? You can use your brand image, SAB's brand image, right, to gain opportunities in other countries. Right, the brand image could be used because we have a huge brand image with CS Sri Lanka, right? And also we can capitalize our strong reputation and industry connections. As I told you, that's a strength to expand our program and partnership nationally and internationally. Develop specialized training programs to meet the growing demand for accountants in emerging industries. So likewise, we have a great strength because we are the national, right? CS Sri Lanka. CS Sri Lanka backing is there. Our foundation is CS Sri Lanka. So that great strength can bring a lot of opportunities, right, towards SAB. Then the ST strategies, strengths to counter threats. Now, the main threat comes with competition with other local and foreign degree programs. So how can we, what's our strength to address that, defend ourselves? The brand image. The brand image. Enhance its competitive position by leveraging strengths, particular brand image, to differentiate itself from the competitors. So we have to, that's why I always say, right, we have to have a differentiated degree program. We have to give a unique value proposition, and we have to add the unique value to our students based on our degree or from our degree programs. Then also monitor regulatory changes closely and proactively adapt its curriculum and services to ensure competitive and compliance and maintain relevance. So that we do every at least 5 years time, or on a continuous basis, we revise the curriculum at SAB, right? So likewise, we try to be relevant. We try to, so we have that capacity with our internal lecture panel as well as consultants who are there. So with that strength, we are able to have a defensive strategy for these threats, right? So that's number 2. Then WO strategies, weakness to opportunities. So one of the weaknesses that we see is that infrastructure, particularly technological infrastructure. So if we can expand that, we can get more opportunities, right? We can get more opportunities, not only in Bangladesh, in other countries as well. And also we can have strategic alliances. Now, for an example, there might be a weakness in SAB that we don't have access to certain important resources. As I told you, now when you are doing a research methodology, you need access to certain journal articles. So maybe what we can do is we can get in together, and we call that competition as well. I will teach you what's that. And you can have strategic alliances, right? And you can pool the resources together, right? Not to just to compete with each other, but to get together and compete. That's what we call a cartel, isn't it? So likewise, we are trying to address our weaknesses and get our opportunities. And on the other hand, a weakness itself can be an opportunity. Now, still SAB is young and we don't have that much of infrastructure, that's true. So that gives the platform where we are agile. We are agile. We can do different things quickly, right? We can do different things quickly. Please hold on. Give me a moment, Pata. Okay, students. So yes. So sometimes a weakness can be used as an opportunity, isn't it? To get opportunities. If you are young and small, you are agile. You can do changes very quickly and you can adapt things very quickly. So don't think a weakness as a weakness. Maybe it could be used to, I don't know, leverage yourself. Leverage yourself. Then weakness and threat strategies. So you are now trying to address your weakness and threats, right? So what's that? Implement cost-saving measures and seek alternative funding sources to mitigate the impact of resource constraints and economic instability. So yes, we might need to see, I don't think there's much cost saving to be done at SAP because we can use digital business strategies to reduce ineffectiveness and inefficiencies, right? And use our resources much better. That will allow us to navigate this financial crisis, isn't it? Then focus on improving the institutes that SAB's global recognition and accreditation to counteract threats related to limited recognition. So I think it's better to now to get accreditation and to fight for global recognition. Global recognition. So likewise, students, we can have different strategies, right, TAUS, we can, these where we applied a TAUS analysis. Right, TAUS analysis. Okay, do you need this document? It's not there, I have not uploaded it. Avashadave?
Yes, sir.
Okay, then let's put that.
Yes.
Okay, okay. So choose a location. File name. It's already saved. That's why it says like this here. It's there now. Yeah, it's there. So let me save this and let me upload it now itself. Kumada pusarata kammali vanne neda. We have to immediately. Okay, let me put the TAUS analysis over here. TAUS analysis and SAB, I have put it over there. So you can gain access. What happened to it? Yeah, I think I put it over here. Better to even after this. Right, so that's the TAUS analysis and how you can apply that to SAB, which is very close to our heart. So that's why I took SAB. But now apply that to your company that had been allocated to you. Right? So please apply that. Okay, so that's about the TAUS analysis. And let's go back. There's an activity, but don't worry. We'll do the activities later, isn't it? Okay, now this is another concept before we go to that the Sandvik steel case study, which I'll allow you to pay some minutes to do that. Then what do you mean by this co-petition? Co-petition. I'm going to give you about 5 minutes, right? Use whatever the sources, including ChatGPT, and see what's co-petition. And can you tell me what's co-petition? It's the newest way of competing. We are talking competition, but now here we are talking about co-petition. What's co-petition? And what are some examples? So I'm going to give you about 5 minutes to do that. So please see what's co-petition and with examples. Co-petition with examples. Then I'm going to ask each student to tell what do you mean by co-petition. Now it's 7:09. So I'll give about 3 minutes or 4 minutes, let's say. Now 7:10. By 7:15, or let's say 7:15, 5 minutes. Can you tell me what do you mean by co-petition? I'll first ask any volunteers, then let me ask some students. Right. So actively get engaged. Make errors. You tell something totally wrong, that's no problem. Right? Because here we are trying to study things. This is not the final exam. So therefore feel free to make mistakes. There's no problem. What's co-petition? Okay, 1 minute more. Okay, right. We'll now see what do we mean by competition. Okay, students, anyone who are volunteers, what's competition? I expect these at the exam.
Sir, it's a cooperation between competitive companies, two companies, to gain an advantage of both companies.
Very good. Excellent. So actually two competing companies now get together. Right? And they are competing, but they are competing together related to certain, aspects. They won't get together means they don't merge or acquire each other, but they will set certain common standards. Right? Good, very good. So it's not only two, maybe there are many companies in an industry will get together, major competitors will get together, and they will set a certain industry standard. They will develop one standard so for the entire industry that could be used. Right? So we'll ask some examples. So that's an excellent answer, Puta. Thank you very much. Any examples for the competition?
Sir, Intel and Microsoft, sir.
Yes, okay, Intel and Microsoft. So related to what?
Yeah, like they are competing like Intel processors in laptops. So the Microsoft Windows are running like on Intel processors.
That's correct. But is it a competition? Is it a competition? Because are they directly competing? Now, yeah, you could say in a way they are competing in terms of devices. Intel also has come up with a range of devices. But the example you say, Buddha, like it's like complements, isn't it? Not a competition. The Windows and then the Intel processor. But again, thank you very much for your attempt. I really appreciate that. You're one of the students who always come forward and give you answers. That's really appreciated, Buddha.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Anyone else who would like to tell me an example?
Amazon Marketplace.
Okay, Pushpika. How come Amazon Marketplace creates a competition?
Amazon, they provide the e-commerce platform to other competitors, vendors to do transactions.
Okay. Yes. Yes. In fact, they are allowing others to compete with their products, isn't it? So they have provided a common platform, and that increases the entire availability of items as well as it creates a healthy competition, isn't it? Yeah, in a way. How about others? Anyone else?
Hello.
Yes, Nalin. Yes. Please go ahead.
Yeah. So, yes, Apple company and Samsung company. It's
Okay,
probably that.
how it's competition?
So they are using that Apple is using the most innovative features for their products, and I think he's providing a good competition for the others and Samsung. I think.
That's correct. But again, Putha, now, very good. Thank you. Thank you, Nalin. Again, one of the another students. No, what I see is always there are a set of students who are really contributing. And I really appreciate that. And so thank you very much. Actually, here, yes, like what should happen is these two competitors, these 2 or 3 competitors to get together and develop a common standard. Now, let's say for an example, right? So let's say this will, I don't know, will happen or not. I don't know, someday maybe. Like let's say now in Sri Lanka, in terms of telecommunications, who are the competitors? We have whom? We have Mobitel, Dialog, Mobitel, and then we have whom? Hutch. We have Hutch, right? And Etisalat is no longer there. So Hutch is there. And likewise, let's say these are the 3 main competitors for an example, right? Hutch, Mobitel, and Dialog. Let's say these 3 companies get together and develop 6G technology. Still, we have 5G, and it's also not implemented properly in Sri Lanka. And I don't know whether it will ever would be implemented. But again, let's say these 3 companies get together and develop what? The 6G platform. 6G platform, and all 3 companies have pooled their resources and have done R&D and come up with this 6G technology. And now all 3 companies are using that to provide their services to the customers. But of course, they are competing for the customers, but they develop that common standard 6G together. That we can call what? Competition. Right? That's competition. So major now certain companies get together and do such kind of. So actually, once they set the standard, then that becomes the industry standard. And it's being used by a lot of other companies. But actually, in the initial stage, right, they would have worked together, they have pooled their resources and come up with this particular technology or platforms, things like that. Anyone who would like to add more example stories? Anyone? Monar, interesting examples here.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, Putha.
So Pfizer and BioNTech to jointly develop a COVID-19 vaccine.
See, they jointly developed that, right? They jointly developed. Then they came up marketing that, and of course, and they are competing. That's correct. But they jointly developed that, the vaccine. A very good example. Anyone else who would like to tell your idea for an example on competition? But remember, in the future, this is the way that the companies will be competing, right? By creating a competitive kind of a way of competing with each other, isn't it? I think it has its own advantages and disadvantages. That's true. But again, I think because rather one company trying to do things and then the other company duplicating the same R&D process is a waste of money when we look at the societal perspective. So rather getting together and developing certain technologies and platforms will save money, and also it will create healthy competition. It will create healthy competition, isn't it? We need healthy competition, not to have cutthroat zero-sum games. Right. Okay, great. Good. Thank you, Buddha. We got some very interesting examples. Anyone more who would like to tell an example for competition? Now,
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, Puta. Yes. Yes.
I
Niranjan.
have one doubt, sir. Like
Yeah.
in telecommunication industry, sir,
Yeah.
like Dialog and SLT is having these fiber lines, sir, to
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
transmit.
Yeah.
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 So
Yeah.
in that case, the
Yeah.
like other operators like
That's true.
yeah,
That's true.
Mobitel need to lease out those fiber lines to like transmit like data and all those stuff. So in that case, that is also coming under the category of competition, right?
Competition. That's correct. That's competition. They have laid out the, groundwork and the fiber optic network, and and then Hutch is now using that, and they also could contribute, and they could also expand that network, and both companies could use that,
Okay, sir. Okay.
right? So if both are contributing and using that, that means it's competition. A good question. A good answer. Bhuta. A very good
Thank you.
example that you have brought up. Good. So we got several good answers and good explanations on competition. So that's competition. Right. Then now let's come to case study 5.2, where we have the Sandvik case study. Now the first question is summarize Sandvik Steel's digital business strategy as described in the article. Then suggest why the proportion of online purchase varies in the different countries in which Sandvik trades. Then additional question one, summarize how digital business has been used to transform Sandvik Steel. Then what are some of the risks of digital business that needs to be managed that are highlighted by the article. So what I'll do is, since today is not a physical class and we cannot have group work in this manner. So what I'll do is I will give this as an individual work to you and provide you answers by tomorrow morning, right? Tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. Okay. So please submit your answers by tomorrow morning. Okay. So let me put a small link for that now itself. So I was planning to discuss this, but then next week we'll discuss the answers. Because it's a very, very important case study, a very interesting case study. But in a digital platform, it's hard to have group work, particularly in Teams. In Zoom, you can create separate groups, but in Teams, I don't know whether you can do that. Okay, it's 2023. Okay, advantage and disadvantage assignment by. So let me put it over here. Let me duplicate this. And let's say delete. Then I can start my other lecture. Case study 5. Sandvik Steel. So let's call Sandvik Steel digital business strategy. So I'll say please. So case 5.2. Case study 5.2. Right. So we'll put up the question so it's going to be easy for our students, isn't it? All right. Okay, we'll come here. So, okay, the first question is this one. Summarize. Answer the following questions. step. Okay, this is question number 1. Summarize the digital business strategies. Right, there are several. And suggest the proportion. Why the proportion of online purchase varies in different countries, in which Sandvik trades. Sandvik is a multinational company, so that changes from region to region. Online sale, why is that? The answers are given, in fact, in the case study itself. It's just to read and summarize. Then number 3, additional question 1. So we'll call that number 3. Summarize how digital business has been used to transform Sandvik Steel. Then number 4. Number 4 is this. What are some of the risks that Sandvik might face? What are some of the risks of digital business that need to be managed that are highlighted by the article? Okay, so please upload it. I'm not going to make it an exam mode. Yeah, all the reasons not to do this. So therefore, let's put it as an upload. 18th February. Right, tomorrow is 18th, isn't it? Yeah. Before 8 a.m. Please do upload it, right? So we want to wait on 19. Right. So please upload one file. Please. And better to upload it in PDF file. Not all files, let's say PDF file. Right, I think that's enough. Okay, so please do submit that one, right? So this is where you are required to answer 4 questions. So read the case and case study 5.2 and upload your answers. In fact, I had planned to do this as what we call a group assignment, right? A group discussion at least, but it's not possible because we are having that constraint since we are doing the today in digital format, right? Okay, so please do submit that. Is the early submission? 55 people have submitted. Some people are late. RSC 55 minutes. Then the student Ahmad has belated 5 days and 8 hours. My goodness. Then Rislan 1 day. Then Furnace 5. Furnace, isn't it? 49 minutes. And then Vijay Sekar 3 hours. So try to be on time, Buddha, right? And do the necessary submissions. Okay, any questions that you would not clarify so far? So I think that's enough related to strategy, and this is the case study. Please go through this case study carefully. And already I talked about the balance scorecard, right? What are the 4 perspectives? And even I told you, right? When it comes to digital business strategy, what kind of objectives or metrics you could use. Yeah, even today it's there. Okay. customer. Now, if it start with customer perspective, customer acquisition rate, how many leads are generated online, in customer retention, customer satisfaction. So these are some matrices you could use for a digital business to see whether the customers are okay. And in addition to this, I gave you several social engagement metrics, right? As well as a lot of other matrices last week in the lecture. Then process, average time for a new product development, months. Then procurement lead times, sales cycle, and even complaints, right? That shows you whether your process is good or bad. Then financial, of course, revenue contribution from online channels, margins from online channels, cost savings from partners using different e-services. Yes, those are financial matrices that you could use. Then innovation and employee development, learning and development as we call it, number of new products released per year, training hours, new features added, and training programs that were conducted likewise. So you also need to, for your own company, right, that you are selected and suggesting digital business, please see what are these, right? Okay, and that's enough for this. Then Boohoo will discuss some other day. This European.com failure. What happened? That maybe some other day we'll discuss. Right. I think high time we can take a small break, isn't it? Break. And after the break, what we'll do is we'll discuss the next chapter, vertical and virtual integration and those kind of things. So here what we are going to basically discuss is supply chain in a digital business. Right? We'll be discussing certain things we discussed earlier, then vertical integration, virtualization. What are these? The value network. And what's the now? You might have studied the Porter's value chain, traditional value chain analysis, but you will see here we are going to challenge that traditional value chain. Right now, this is the traditional value chain. And some interesting technologies like here, this is the value chain that you have studied. But today we are going to challenge that. I'll remind you and you will see what's this value chain and then what's the new value chain. And then I'm going to challenge why the new value chain might be controversial. Right? Then what's the value stream? Then after that, virtual organization and virtualization, and particularly vertical integration as well as virtual integration. What are these? And we are going to use IBM and Dell as examples. I'm going to give you answers as well. And with that we can finish. Right. So that's what we are going to discuss after the break. Okay. So we shall take a 20-minute break. It's almost now 7:40. So shall we meet at 8? Right? And go up to 9:30. Okay. Or at least 9:15 or 9:10. Right? Not 9:30. Yes, the lecture is from 6 to 9, isn't it? Right. We'll meet then very soon. So we'll then discuss this particular area. Thank you, and we shall meet soon. Okay. At 8 p.m. Okay, students, welcome back. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, we can.
Yes, sir, we can hear
Okay,
you.
great. Thank you. Thank you very much. Hope you can see my screen also, no?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Excellent. Right. Now let's go ahead. So we'll discuss about supply chain and demand. So several things we are going to discuss. Already we discussed certain things, but let's first of all see what's the supply chain management, SCM. I think you have heard this term in different places, but what do you mean by supply chain management? So the definition is given here. The coordination of all supply activities of an organization from its suppliers and partners to its customers. So in supply chain management, it's the entire value chain from your suppliers, where you get raw materials or maybe finished goods, and then how it's delivered to your customers. So clearly you can see there are two aspects of the supply chain. We are the upstream supply chain as well as the downstream supply chain. What do I mean by upstream supply chain? The upstream supply chain here means that you are dealing with your suppliers and other intermediaries where you get the items from them. Right? Then downstream supply chain means you are dealing with your customers. So we know that we used certain terms for this earlier. For upstream supply chain, what did we use in a digital context, digital business context? What e-commerce? We use certain terms like buy-side e-commerce, buy-side e-commerce. Then we have sell-side e-commerce. So yes, let me show you. Right, you have the upstream supply chain or buy-side e-commerce. You can see here, buy-side e-commerce, or we call it inbound logistics as well. Right, where you are getting your items, getting your raw materials, getting the finished goods to be resold. Right, then you have the downstream supply chain where you are dealing with your customers. So we call it sell-side e-commerce or outbound logistics. Porter's language is outbound logistics. Right, buy-side e-commerce and the sell-side e-commerce. So same thing as the upstream supply chain as well as the downstream supply chain. In a supply chain, you have to manage both sides, right? Supply chain. So we know in a digital business, supply chain management is so important, where we need to manage properly the buy-side e-commerce side as well as the sell-side e-commerce. If not, we are going to be in a massive trouble if we don't manage it now. With COVID-19 and economic crisis, exchange crisis as well, the buy side, right, e-commerce was suffering, isn't it? The buy side, because we could not get certain supplies. We could not get some supplies. So therefore, what we have to understand is that in certain cases, right, both the buy side as well as sell side e-commerce is going to be really important. Okay. Now let's see what do you mean by this RFID technology? Right, a very important technology when it comes to inventory management. In supply chain management, internal things are also important. Right, you might get raw material, you might have finished goods, you might have work in progress. Likewise, you might have fixed assets also, of course. So how can this RFID technology help? Right. So what do we mean by this RFID technology? Right, when you talk about this particular supply chain management, the book emphasizes on this technology. RFID stands what? You can see on the screen, radio frequency identification. refers to a wireless system comprised of two components, the tags and the readers. So you attach a tag in a fixed asset or maybe even in a finished good that to be resolved. And what happens is, right, I'll show you here, this is what happens, right? Now, this particular tag is attached. Now you can see the RFID tag is attached to a particular fixed asset, let's say. You might have tables, you might have chairs, you might have other assets. So an RFID tag is attached to that. And there's an antenna usually with that RFID tag. And then what happens is you have an RFID reader, right? And just you need to go and show that reader to the RFID tag, or sometimes it picks up on a wireless basis, right? You don't even need to go and touch it. Then immediately that information will be updated in a computer database. So particularly you can see the importance of this kind of RFID technology in inventory management. Now, when you are to take inventories, you have to do physical counts. It's a very, very difficult task, time consuming task. But on the other hand, you can see if you use RFID technology, attach RFID tags, inventory count can be done very quickly. And everything is recorded in a computer database. So this is what we call the RFID, technology and radio frequency identification technology, right? RFID. The reader is a device that has one or more antennas that emits radio waves and receives signals back from the RFID tag. The reader could read them. Sometimes there's this two kinds of readers. We'll tell that two kinds of RFID tags. Tags which use radio waves to communicate their identity and their other information nearby readers can be passive or active. What are passive readers? Passive RFID tags are powered by a reader and do not have a battery. So RFID tag, if it is not having a battery, then we call that a passive one. Active RFID tags are powered by batteries. Right, there's a small battery with that RFID tag. So very easily you can count inventories as well as track fixed assets and update your database even without even going and showing the RFID tag in the reader into that tag. So this is what we mean by RFID technology. Now there's a small question to you, right? The question is, what are the advantages and disadvantages of RFID technology? Yes, believe me, there are disadvantages as well. So in one exam, it was tested. What are the advantages and disadvantages of RFID technology? So take about 5 minutes and tell me what are the advantages and disadvantages. What are the advantages and disadvantages? I'll give you the answer, of course, but again, just check the internet and tell me what are the advantages and disadvantages of RFID technology. I'm going to give you 5 minutes. So we have 31 participants. What are the advantages? Then what are the disadvantages? RFID technology. I'll give you 5 minutes. So at 8:15, we'll discuss the answer. What are the advantages and disadvantages? It's a great technology, but there are advantages as well as disadvantages. You'll be surprised sometimes what are the disadvantages. Advantages and disadvantages. We have another 1 minute more. Okay, time is up. We'll now discuss. Right. We'll ask the students voluntarily tell me what are the advantages and what are the disadvantages. Let's come up with advantages. So can you tell me what are the advantages of RFID, using RFID tags?
So faster inventory tracking?
Yes, it's very fast, very good. So it will save you a ton of time. Very good. Yes. I think Nalin.
It's reduce. Yes, sir. It's reduce labor cost.
Excellent. Yes, now you don't need about 10 people to take stock counts. You can have one person with a RFID read, and that person will walk around with the reader and everything will be captured and updated in the what? In a computer database automatically, wireless. It's wireless technology. I happened to go to a conference where they have now even incorporated that RFID technology into the thread. of clothes. So easily you can identify what kind of thread, where it was manufactured, what kind of thread to sort out for recycling. So RFID now thread is also there, not only tags. So it will lessen the labor cost in a great way. Very good. So it's faster. It lessens the labor cost. What else?
High accuracy.
Very good. High accuracy, because people might make mistakes when they do it manually. So yes, indeed, Pushpika says, yes, you have a very high accuracy levels, because it's after all RFID technology. So it's technology. So you don't need to do physical things, and it's hard to manipulate as well. Good. High accuracy. What else?
The durability is high.
Excellent. Of course, you can have the RFID tags reused, and for a long period you can use them. Yes, it's a durable technology, as well as it's a very good technology that could be used. The tags, the readers could be reused and used again and again and again. These are quite durable tags. Now the thread that I told was, even if you wash that, it won't get harmed. It won't get this. Even if you iron that thread, no, it's not going to be a problem. It won't get destroyed. So you can see it's very durable. That thread I saw, it's a nice thread. It's put into your garment. So once it's recycled, to be recycled someday, it will give all the information, like what material, where it was manufactured, what material, what's the content of that material. Everything will be there. So it's easy to recycle those fabrics, garments. Yes, it's durable. What else? What else, students? Now, potential exam question, right? RFID technology in supply chain management. It's a great technology that could be used. Yes, another one is what? Yes,
Inventory
yes,
management,
someone.
sir.
Yes, you can use
Inventory
it.
management.
Inventory management. Excellent. You can use in different applications like inventory management, fixed asset management, and other type of asset management as well. Very good. So yes, you are very correct. Inventory management, fixed asset management, and some other types of managements of certain assets, right? You can use. Good. What are the other advantages? So you came up with 4 or 5 major advantages. Very good. Right? Anything that anyone would like to add more? I think the more important ones were covered, and you covered that very well. So what are the, do you want to add something more? Someone add Karan Kavati. Yeah, you are correct. Basically, that's what, those are the advantages. So what are now the disadvantages? Disadvantages?
Higher
Implementing
cost of implementation.
Very good. Almost all told the correct answer together. Higher cost of initial implementation. After that, the cost is low. That's correct. But to implement this technology, you need to get RFID tags, readers, as well as the computer software. Right? It's quite costly. So initial cost is high. That's true. What else? What else?
Sir, sometimes this technology might not be compatible with the existing technology.
Indeed, integration. What you call is integration. So sometimes if you have manual systems, right, and if you are trying to bring RFID technology, that won't work, because your inventory management is manually done, and you are trying to now capture the inventory through RFID tags. It's incompatible. So if the systems are incompatible, then it won't work. Correct. What else? Very good. Privacy, indeed. Now, whether a customer would like, now I told that RFID technology can be incorporated into your garment, right? So would you like that? So the main concern was privacy. People are afraid of being tracked. Why should we be tracked? Isn't it? Not afraid. We don't like to be tracked. Right? Privacy concerns might be there. Indeed. What else? A very good two answers came up. Several answers came up. What else? Now please take
lack of security.
Lack of security? Yes. Because sometimes RFID tags can be manipulated. Although it's quite safe, but it can be manipulated. It can be hacked. The database could be hacked. And RFID tags also could be hacked sometimes. Hackers could do different things. Hackers would play havoc. Hackers and havoc. So yes, that kind of situations could occur. What else? What else? Now we have 30 students now. So I didn't want to name anyone and ask you to tell that you are adults. I appreciate that and recognize that. So you have to voluntarily tell. Or at least use the chat and send some answers. That's also okay. Although Teams chat is not a little bit unfamiliar, like when it comes to Zoom chat, it's easy to use. Here also it's just type and send it. It's not that difficult. So what are the other disadvantages? So what are the other issues? There are two major issues you still did not tell. What's that?
Hello, sir.
Yes,
Limited range.
Limited
Some
range.
material can run impact, sir, like material liquid.
Excellent. You gave two very important answers were given by two students. One, limited range. Of course, the RFID tags could capture only a few meters, right? So therefore, if it is a vast, very large warehouse, then you might not be able to use it effectively, and you might need a large number of laborers for that, and it will take some time. So yes, it has limited range. That's one of the issues. And then the other student told a very, very important point, as all others had told. That is where the RFID tags might not be able to be used with some things like liquid. Right? If the inventory is liquid, in liquid form, then in that case, you cannot use RFID tags. Right? So also there are certain other disadvantages. The RFID tags in time, right? In particularly adverse weather conditions, they can get rusty, or they can get destroyed in adverse weather conditions. Usually those are durable, right, tags, but again in adverse weather conditions and adverse situational conditions, they could get destroyed. And very, very importantly, although it's not common, there can be health hazards. Because remember, this is radio frequencies we are using. Radio frequencies, RFID, radio frequency identification. So radio frequencies might not be that sometimes healthy. Even when you are using your mobile phones, you have to be very careful, right? Very careful, because it says that it creates certain radio frequencies that's not good for human body. Sometimes too much usage of phones is said to be that creates some, you just see, right? I'm not going to make you panic, but again, it can create even cancer, it says, if you're using too much. So that's why some people use, the people who often use headphones use a headset, or at least a kind of a mechanism where you are going to speak, right? A headset or whatever. So, so this is radio frequency, so it might create some certain health issues. So I got very good answers. Thank you very much. Excellent. So let me now tell you what are the answers given in the book. Benefits: improved accuracy, better track You can track better than cost reduction. Risk. So it's a huge investment at the beginning. Privacy concerns might be there, of course. Fraud of changing RFID hacking could take place, as well as you gave some very, very good answers as well. You gave some very excellent answers as well. So these are given in the book. Right. So let's do this. Yeah, already I discussed now these certain information, right? Now, what's re-intimidation, disintimidation, and countermidation? Can you remember we discussed? We'll start with disintimidation. Whatever disintimidation. That also comes under supply chain management. What's disintimidation?
It's the removal of intermediaries.
Excellent. Removal of traditional intermediaries. Very good. So maybe earlier, right, I'm the supplier. Let's say I'm the organization, the company which supplies certain items to customers, right? Now earlier, I had to use some intermediaries to make that supply. Let's say I'm the manufacturer on the other hand. I'm the manufacturer. I'm, let's say, a vegetable farmer, right? I'm a vegetable farmer. So let's say now what happens is I have to give that to an intermediary. The intermediary gives that to the customer or retail shop, send it to customer. But now we can remove that unnecessary intermediaries and give the benefit to the customers by directly selling to them, right? I might create a website and I will get the items delivered to your doorstep. So I can cut down all those retailers, intermediate, the wholesalers, retailers, the intermediaries. So that's called disintimidation. Okay, which we discussed. Then what's re-intimidation? Re-intimidation means what?
Adding more intermediaries.
Adding more suitable intermediaries. Now you replace traditional intermediaries with more suitable ones. Now let's say earlier, let's say I'm a computer manufacturer, right? And I was selling my computers through just shops that just sold that to customers. But now I'm going to do this. I'm not going to just give them to just shops. I'll give them to some expert retailers who will give a value-added services to my customers. Value-added services, right? So not just retailers that will just sell something, some items. When the customer asks something, they don't know what is that. They might not know anything. But now I'm going to have consultants as my retailers, experts. So they will troubleshoot if the customers have any problems. They will answer any question my customers would have. So likewise, re-intimidation means you bring more suitable ones. Now, for an example, in digital business strategy, what you could do is now you might have used traditional marketing agents for your marketing purposes. But now you are going to replace them with social media marketing. You might use people who use Facebook marketers for your marketing purpose. See, re-intimidation. Re-intimidation. Now you are not going to use the traditional newspaper marketing agents. What you are going to do is you are going to use social media marketers for your marketing purposes. So that's called re-intimidation. Then we had the third type of intimidation. That's what we call the countermidation. What's countermidation? You discuss kara. What's countermidation? So countermidation is a bad word that should not be spoken or uttered in the public. Is it a bad word? No. Countermediation is not a bad word. It's not a filthy word. What's that? Can someone tell me what's countermediation?
So
So
they are
the established.
Very good. You establish your own intermediary. The company now re-intimidation, you use a third party, right? Now to do the Facebook marketing and things, you use a third party. But on the other hand, if you create your own subsidiary for your marketing purposes, then we call it what? Countermediation. So these things also come under this. So disintermediation, re-intimidation, and countermediation. Okay. Now here, usually what happens is we have the method of pushing the items to the customers under their throats. The supplier gets items from manufacturer. The manufacturer manufactures things and tries to give that to the customer. This is called push to customer. So it's not based on what really the customer requires. It's what the manufacturer thinks that the customer requires and then gives that to him. I don't think this is a successful method, but again, that's what many people do. But on the other hand, then we have pull from customers. Customer makes the demand and then the production process starts. Actually, in Dell, that's there. The customer could tailor the specifications, then the item would be produced and shipped to the customer. And some garment manufacturers, online garment manufacturers do that. The customer makes the demand, right? So a tailored product is provided. So that's called pull from the customer. But the usual thing is that you push the things to the customer. Then we shall discuss value chain in supply chain management. What's value chain? What's value chain? Yes, read the yellow colored thing. Again, value chain analysis was introduced by Michael Porter. So here it says right from the suppliers, right, to customers, when an item is given from your organization, how value is added throughout. So he explained this model. This is the traditional value chain. It says inbound logistics, that means how you get your raw materials from suppliers. Then you produce the things. You can see production. And then you can see it's outbound logistics, that's sales. And you can have, of course, sales and marketing as well. Delivery, sales and marketing. After sales services are also there. So this is the traditional supply chain. And of course, you can see these are called the primary activities. And then secondary activities are there. Human resources, finance, and information systems. So he has not identified accounting. Actually, it should be accounting and finance, is it? Accounting and finance, HR and human resources, right? So these are secondary value chain activities. According to him, they are supportive activities. But these are the main activities that are related to the operations. Inbound logistics, production, outbound logistics, and sales and marketing. So this is the traditional value chain that was proposed by Michael Porter. But now I'm today going to introduce a new value chain. A new value chain. But for some people, it both might be new. But again, this one was what the first one under A. That's what Porter had introduced some very long time back. Then you have the new value chain analysis. Under the new value chain analysis, you can see first things happen with a market research. Now see, the market requirement is first assessed. Based on that new market requirement, then you develop the product. You can see the second step. Then market the product, right? You market that, then you procure the materials. Then procure the products, and then you fulfill the order. You sell it. See, in the first one, it was actually what? Demand driven or supply driven? Porter's traditional value chain analysis is what? Is it demand driven? Is it customer driven? It's supply driven, isn't it? Very good. But here you can see this is the new value chain. This is what now modern companies are doing. they start with the market research. And then they tailor the product, they produce and tailor the product and provide the product what the customers require. So in the traditional value chain, such kind of thing is not done. They provide the same item again and again and again and again without looking at what are the customers really require. Okay, so at the exam you might be asked, compare and contrast the traditional value chain with the new value chain. So this is the change. One is customer driven, the other one is supplier driven, as we discussed earlier. Yeah. Push to the customers, that's the traditional value chain. Then pull from the customer, that's the new one, the modern value chain. Okay. So new value chain models. The traditional value chain model of Michael Porter figure 8A, that's what you saw in the top, is no longer useful as a framework for value chain management. Instead, 681B is more appropriate. So the virtual value chain involves now this kind of a virtual value chain. Why? Electronic commerce, because that's where virtually you use to mediate traditional value chain activities such as market research, procurement, logistics, right? That's how traditional business strategies could help the new value chain. Logistics, so because we are using this technology into this equation, the processing is machine-based or virtual rather than paper-based. So everything is virtually done using artificial intelligence, machine learning, and blockchain. Right? Blockchain. But however, right? So you might be impressed that by looking at the new value chain. But do you think what's the main disadvantage of the new value chain? And you might think that the new value chain, that's customer driven, customer pull, right, rather than supply push. What do you think is the main disadvantage of the new value chain model, which I'm referring to this one, B? What's the main disadvantage, or what do you think? A negative point of this value chain? Anyone? Pavani, what do you think? What's the kind of disadvantage? Pushpika? Nalin? Usual names, and a lot of other names are there, but these are the usual names.
So bad product can be
bad
products.
Now it's like this. You do a market research and come up with a product. No? So it's very unlikely to have a bad product, isn't it? Right? You are very close. In fact, what's the main disadvantage? The disadvantage might be that this particular model might not be useful for all products. Now, for example, now it's vegetable manufacturing. If you are a farmer, then can you apply the second model for digital products as well as innovative products, technological products? The second one might be good for electronic items, things like that. But for brick manufacture, if I'm manufacturing bricks, gadul manufacture then I think the first one might be much appealing, isn't it? Because those are essentials, vegetables and those kind. Of course, you can apply the second one, but for a high-end market. But for the usual market, I think still the traditional for traditional items, the traditional value chain might be applied. So therefore, at the exam, you might be asked, okay, compare and contrast and tell you ideas about the new value chain. What are some negative things that you can think of? So basically, you can tell yes, arguments for and arguments against. Right? I have given you the answer here. Right? Summary arguments for. the new value chain is customer focused, more representative of key processes, and also it's representative information flows within the organization. But what are the arguments against of the new value chain? Right? It's more appropriate for service-oriented organizations, not for big manufacturing or maybe farmers, things like that. And also the new value chain did not that much emphasize on HR, right, and accounting and finance functions. Right. In fact, Porter at least put that as secondary activities, but in the new value chain, it was not there. It's embedded. That's what it says. In the information systems, information flow, those are there. That's what it says. It's not completely removed. But what you have to understand is it's not represented. So likewise, maybe at the exam, you might be asked, critically evaluate. Now, this statement might be given. This statement. The traditional now, let's say for an example, this is a question. The traditional value chain model of Michael Porter is no longer useful as a framework for value chain management. So that's a statement. Critically evaluate. Right? Critically evaluate. Then, of course, you can tell what are the summary arguments for and summary arguments against that particular statement. Got a point? Is that clear?
Yes.
Good, very good. Right. I think that's enough for today, no? Other than that, right? I think we'll have part 2 next week, right? So now you have a small assignment to be done also by tomorrow morning. So therefore, I'm going to allow you time for that as well. So here part 2 is basically, I'm going to discuss about value stream, then virtual organization, then vertical integration and virtual integration. We'll discuss those things, right? And I'll also discuss a small case on IBM and Dell. What are the advantages and disadvantages? And that will end this chapter. So we'll do that next week. I think that's enough for today. It was a So please do attempt the today's Sandvik case study, right? And upload it before the deadline tomorrow 8 a.m. Okay, so that's what I want to discuss with you. We discussed a great deal of information today, right? And also I want to discuss today, in fact, the Sandvik steel case study, but again, we don't have time. In fact, not time, we had the time, but again, today hard to make groups online, right? And also I explained you the individual assignment as well as group assignment. So please work on that. And the assignments are very critical because I'm looking very carefully of what you have done, particularly your individual as well as group assignment. So I could understand if some people have copied things and other things. So therefore, try to be maintain your integrity and do a very good job because you have now enough time, right? Okay? Right. So with that, then I think that's enough. We had a lengthy session today. So appreciated for your presence, really appreciated. So Puta, I would like to say wish you a very good night, and we'll meet next Tuesday, isn't it? We'll meet next Tuesday. Thank you very much, and Puta, good night.